I'm going to go straight into it, right? So last year, if you all remember, I shared with everyone about the National Giving Study, right, conducted by MVPC, and it really reviewed, the conditions of our giving and volunteerism in our society, and kind of gave us a direction on what kind of people we hope to become, or what kind of church we want to be. So today, I've come with yet again another national study that caught my attention, and it has to do with the youth in Singapore. Okay, so this study is called the National Youth Mental Health Study, conducted by the Institute of Mental Health. And the purpose was to find out about the state of well-being of Singapore's youth. So this study was conducted over 9 months from 2022 to 2023, and it published its first tranche of findings last September. So now researchers conducted interviews with 2,600 youths in Singapore, but caveat, youths aged 15 to 35. Okay, now we're all youths here, okay? Now anyway, these 2,600 youths, right, were asked about their social demographic background, their mental health and well-being, their general feelings about themselves, experiences in school or workplace, social support and lifestyle behaviors. And I would say the first tranche of findings published, right, is not very positive. Okay, so let me share with you 3 key findings. And there will be a lot of details to look into, but I just want to give you some broad strokes today, okay? Now the first, right, is 1 in 8 youths had experienced severe or extremely severe levels of stress, including being unable to relax or feeling upset or irritable most of the time. Next one, 1 in 7 youths in Singapore experienced severe or extremely severe symptoms of depression, such as feeling sad, empty, and a lack of interest and pleasure in activities most of the time. Now, 1 in 4 youths have experienced severe or extremely severe symptoms of anxiety, such as feeling worried, tense, and restless most of the time. And among these people, 1 in 3 did not seek help, whether informal or formal. Now, researchers deep dive to find out what are some of the factors that are linked to these mental health symptoms. And it concluded with the following. Number 1 is excessive social media use. 1 in 4 youths reported spending more than 3 hours on social media platforms daily, which was defined as excessive in this study, okay? Young people with excessive social media usage were 1.5 times more likely to experience depression, 1.3 times more for anxiety, and 1.6 times more for stress. The second one is cyberbullying. 1 in 5 youths had been cyberbullied, encountering threats, harassment, or mean, aggressive, or rude messages online. And young people who had experienced cyberbullying were about 2 times more likely to have severe symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. Now, last one is body shape concerns. 1 in 5 youths had moderate to severe body shape concerns, such as negative body image or excessive concerns about body shapes that are typically associated with eating disorders. And these people are 4.9 times more likely to experience depression, 4.3 times more likely to experience anxiety, and 4.5 times more likely to experience symptoms of stress. And furthermore, those who had body shape concerns were also 2.6 times more likely to be cyberbullied. Now, these are really, really very scary statistics, okay? And even worldwide. I know just 2 days ago, right, if you read the news, I think Prince Harry and Meghan Markle unveiled the Lost Screen Memorial in New York City, dedicated to the memory of 50 children whose lives were lost due to harmful content online that led to cyberbullying, depression, anxiety, sexual exploitation, eating disorder, and other range of traumas related to social media use. And then they hope to raise awareness to create a safer digital world for everyone. So now, social media is a huge part of our lives now, right? It's where we connect, where we share our lives, and where we keep up with the world. But have you noticed how easy it is to start comparing yourself to what you see online? And according to the study, we are spending over 3 hours a day on social media. I think, I have less than 3 hours. But it's still a lot. And we do that just to scroll through other people's lives, seeing their best moments, edited photos, and perfect posts, right? That's a lot of time. And here's the thing, it's messing with how we see ourselves. 1 in 5 youths say social media makes them feel worse about their body. And another survey from the Pew Research Center showed that 43% of young adults feel pressured to post stuff that makes them look attractive or successful. So it's not just what we see, it's what we think we have to become to fit in. And the problem is when we base our worth on likes, on follower counts, on how aesthetic our feed looks, we are building our identity on something that's not solid. And what we see online is just a highlight reel, not the full picture. And when we compare our messy real life to someone else's edited, perfect post, it's easy to feel that we don't quite measure up. But here's the truth, your worth isn't determined by how many likes you get or how many followers you have. You are already enough without the filter, without the edits, without the validation. Who you are is way more than what's on your screen. It's more about how you think about others are looking at you or what they say about you. And you don't need social media to tell you that. Now, listen, I'm not asking us to, today right, we all hate on social media, okay? Social media is just a platform, a tool, a voice. And a deeper issue is how we allow it to influence our lives. And an even bigger question is, what other voices out there shapes our lives? You see, who we are today is shaped by the voices that we hold on to. Some of us here, we are doing well in life. Perhaps there are voices in your life that encourage you and build you up as a person. Some of us, perhaps today, we might not be in a very good space. Perhaps there are voices in our life that are pulling us down as a person, or due to harmful or nasty comments sometimes online. And some of us who are, perhaps you are the awesome human being, right? You are a little bit more self-aware. And you realize that perhaps you are one of those voices in someone else's life. Whether you are a leader, a friend, a parent, or a teacher, your voice impacts another person, whether good or bad. You see, if we truly want the world to be better, will we choose to build someone up instead of putting them down? Especially in this digitally advanced era. Will we choose to love and care for others by speaking the truth tactfully? And as recipients, right, of voices, we learn to hold on to the right voice in our lives. Voices that grows us to become the better version of ourselves, the voice that leads us to live our best life. So I'm going to share a message today. It's called Voice Activated. And today I want to talk about how we can navigate the important voices in our lives. And the principle applies on how we can have a healthy relationship with social media. So I want to point out 3 voices today. Okay, number 1 is outer voice. So there is a story in the Bible in 1 Kings 19. And it's about this is a story about a man named Elijah who lived in ancient Israel many years back. Now, Elijah was special because he was a prophet of God. A prophet is a messenger of God, and his job was to relay God's word to other people. And he was pretty successful at it. And just before this moment in 1 Kings 19, he had done like a miraculous work against his enemies who worshipped other gods. And it was like a very epic showdown between him and his enemies. And then he prayed to God and then it caught down fire from heaven. And everyone was like, whoa, what's happening? But the next moment, which we're going to go into, an evil queen named Jezebel was angered that her side lost against Elijah and she threatened to kill him. And this is where our story begins. So 1 Kings 19, verse 2, Jezebel sent a messenger, she DM'd Elijah. She sent a messenger to Elijah with this message. May the gods do whatever they want to me if by this time tomorrow I haven't made your life like the life of one of them. Elijah was terrified. He got up and ran for his life. He arrived at Beersheba in Judah and left his assistant there. And then he went further into the desert a day's journey. He finally sat down under a solitary broom bush. He longed for his own death. It's more than enough, Lord. Take my life because I'm no better than my ancestors. He lay down and slept under the solitary broom bush. So now, Elijah received a death threat from this queen Jezebel, right? And as much as you love every story that there must be a hero, right? We hope that Elijah to be the hero to fight back. But at this moment, he was simply being human. He was terrified by Jezebel's voice. His life is endangered. He cannot sleep at night. At any moment, someone might just sneak up behind him and just attack him. So Elijah made the most rational decision. If they can't find him, they can't kill him. So he ran far away into the desert, which is the last place you will go if you are a fugitive, right? Because its conditions are harsh. It doesn't sustain life. He even cut loose his assistant, right? He left his assistant there. He wanted to be in solitude. Even the bush he found was in solitude, okay? Very emo. Okay? He was alone and he was afraid. Now, it still strikes me how a person who seemed so successful one moment and that God had did so many amazing things through him ended up in a state like this. He was simply destroyed by one outer voice, which is Jezebel's voice. You see, we are shaped by the outer voices in our lives. And outer voices doesn't belong to you. They are what others say about you and to you. And our experience of outer voices might not be as harsh as Elijah's, but in the small ways. So for example, maybe when you're younger, your parents gave you positive affirmations. Right, that, oh, you are a brave child, you can do it, it's okay to fail and try again. And those outer voices shape you to become someone brave, who knows that it's okay to fail, but to pick ourselves up again. But there are also voices that are negative reinforcements. Right? Maybe we are told we are not smart enough. We are subject to comparison. Maybe we are told that we are a disappointment. Or we are told by our friends that you're not cool enough to fit in. Go away. Or your friends say nasty things about you to exclude you, or even online. Or even now in the online community, what your followers says about you, right? Derogatory remarks like, this person don't look good enough. Or the unspoken voice that, when you use it, they go, I need to gather likes from my social media activities to feel loved, to feel accepted. Now, I came across a video from National Geographic about how positive and negative voices have an immediate impact on a person's performance. So what they did is that they gathered 2 volunteers to do basketball free throws. And the first volunteer had 0 basketball experience. But they placed her in a positive environment where people were cheering her on and encouraging her. And the second volunteer is a good player, but they placed him in a negative environment where people did not respond well to his shots. Okay, so let's watch the video.
A moment ago, we made this volunteer believe she sunk a pair of blindfolded free throws, when earlier, with no blindfold, she missed 10 in a row. How will she do her second time at the line, now that she thinks she nailed those blindfolded buckets?
Oh, close! So close! So close. That's number 1. All right, keep it going. Keep it going. Oh!
She's definitely getting closer, but no baskets yet.
You got this, you got this, you got this. Oh, you.
Wow. By making her think she sank those blindfolded shots, and by cheering and giving her positive reinforcement, it's almost like we hacked her self-confidence and got her to believe more in her natural abilities. In fact, out of 10 shots this time around, she ended up making 4. Quite an improvement. But what if one of our volunteers was already good at basketball? Whoa, this guy's got game. He made a whopping 9 shots from the line. Think there's anything we could do to make him worse?
Okay, so let's have you take 1 shot. All right? You think you can do it, guys? All right, Josh, let's give it a shot. 3, 2, 1. Not quite, but it's all right. Let's let him try a second time. It's a tough one. All right.
Wow.
Let's give it a shot, Josh. Hey. All right. All right. Well, look, the man is blind. Okay. Let's go ahead and take off the blindfold. So listen, it wasn't as easy as we thought, but let's have you do your 10 throws again without the blindfold.
Okay.
Just do your thing. 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10.
Okay. Let's see.
You guys got his A game on? Come on, Josh. Whoa. All right, Josh. You got this, man. You got this. All right, that's 2.
Remember, this guy made 9 free throws earlier, but now it looks like the crowd's negative reinforcement is throwing him off his game.
Okay, the guy like at the end will cry already. So this is a fun experiment, right? But it also is a snapshot of our lives. That as we grow up, we go through many, many rounds of such experiences. That unknowingly, all these outer voices, whether good or bad, start to become the narrative in our lives. It can either become a good foundation to build our life on, or it can be a ceiling for our personal growth. So how do we know if the outer voices we hear are good or bad? So 2 key principles, right? 1, do they carry truth? And 2, do they make you a better person? Now listen, not all outer voices that make you feel good are good. And not all outer voices that make you feel bad are entirely bad. When all of you, right, hear positive affirmations in your life, yes, it makes you feel good for the moment, but it can also make you delusional. If that's the only voice you are hearing. You see, the lady in the video improved in shooting free throws. That's great, right? But if her goal is to become, great at basketball, is positive affirmation alone enough? Right? It's a good starting environment, but she still needs to hear the truth. She has to practice, right? She has to fix her form. And on the other hand, we have other voices which makes you feel bad at the moment, but they carry important truths about you. They are important as well. You see, when someone says to you tactfully, like call you out, your bad behavior wasn't acceptable. You can do better than that, right? No one in that moment could feel like, oh, yeah, correct, right? I'll be like, it's so hard to hear. It makes you feel worse, right? But does it carry some truth? Yes. Does it hold you accountable to become a better person? Yes. Now, what does this all mean? It means that outer voices are just voices. You put meaning to those voices, whether it holds weight in your life. But I want to remind you, if those voices carry truths and the intention is to make you a better person, then those voices are good for you. Hold on to that. Now let's go back to Elijah's journey. In 1 Kings 19, verse 5, it says, then suddenly a messenger tapped him and said to him, another DM, okay? said to him, get up, eat something. Elijah opened his eyes and saw flat bread baked on glowing coals and a jar of water right by his head. He ate and drank and then went back to sleep. The Lord's messenger returned a second time and tapped him. Get up, the messenger said, eat something because you have a difficult road ahead of you. Elijah got up, ate and drank, and went refreshed by their food for 40 days and nights until he arrived at Horeb, God's mountain. So there was another voice in Elijah's life, in his journey, right? The voice that says, get up and eat. Well, I wish I get that voice every day. Get up and eat, then that's all. And there was like some piping hot pizza and fresh water for him. But it doesn't mean that God takes care of him and everything is going to be okay. Right? Sometimes we just want God to, just take care of me, that's it. I don't need to do anything else. But God says, because you have a difficult road ahead of you. You see, the voice encouraged, but also revealed the truth, that the road ahead for him is difficult. Elijah held on to the voice and followed it. And what happens next is incredible. Right? In verse 8, it says, he went refreshed by the food for 40 days and nights. It might seem like, we count on days only, right? Unimportant info. But if you remember Jezebel's threat, may the gods do whatever they want to me if by this time tomorrow, got deadline one, tomorrow, I haven't made your life like the life of one of them. You see, when the queen sends an official message, it must be followed through. Right? It wasn't like an empty threat. It has a deadline. But God kept Elijah going for 40 days. 39 days past Jezebel's threat. Had Elijah held on to Jezebel's voice, then he will always be on the run. Further and further and further. Living his life fearfully now that he has a bounty on his head. But Elijah chose to hold on to the other voice to simply get up and eat. The journey ahead is going to be rough, but keep going. And he kept going. You see, friends, what outer voices are shaping us today? Some of us, we need to hear counter voices, good kind of voices, right? Especially young people here. Maybe you've been told you are stupid, you cannot do well even if you study hard. But today, why don't you hear this from me, that you have yet found an education system that works for you? Or some people say, you are not good looking enough. Then I say to you today, you look amazing, beauty in the eye of the beholder, right? Or some of you here like, wow, you do not fit into this friend group, you are not cool enough. And today I say to you, you are unique and special, and you have great vibes. And especially if we are active on social media, right? No, I got to say, we got to pick the right voice to listen to. And to me, it's ridiculous, right? It doesn't make sense that we listen to people who don't know us well, strangers, that their words hold such weight in our lives, more than people whom we trust and loves us, right? So listen, you get to decide which voice shapes your life. Now, the second voice is the inner voice. So have you ever had moments when you are talking to yourself? Before gathering, Ashley was like, okay, she was memorizing, but she was like sitting out there like she was talking to herself. No, I have done that a lot of times. My best moment is when I'm in the shower, right? It's my TED Talk moment, my concert moment. Sometimes I was like, sometimes I drink the water also. You see, sometimes you also, when you have a major presentation ahead, or you have a performance, and then you have to psych yourself, say, you can do it, right? Edwin, you can do it. Or when you find yourself in an embarrassing situation, you tell yourself that, oh, Edwin, it was the dumb move. Or sometimes you ask, why do people behave in a certain way? And then you start a 2-hour debate with yourself. You see, it's normal to talk to yourself. That's how we know we are healthy. And in fact, scientists found that people who engage in inner monologues, talking to oneself, have benefits across a wide range of domains, including planning, problem solving, self-regulation, self-reflection, emotion regulation, and perspective taking. And it can also be a source of our motivation, instruction, and positive self-reinforcement. You see, our inner voice also shapes who we are. In verse 4, in Elijah's story, he said, he longed for his own death. It's more than enough, Lord. Take my life because I'm no better than my ancestors. Okay, his emo is going to get worse. So you see, Elijah's inner voice is saying that he is a failure. Right? It's very emo, right? And he's not done, okay? Let me continue, verse 9. And the Lord's word came to him and said, why are you here, Elijah? Elijah replied, I've been very passionate for the Lord God of heavenly forces because the Israelites have abandoned your covenant. They have torn down your altars and they have murdered your prophets with the sword. I'm the only one left, and now they want to take my life too. Okay, you see, no one told Elijah that he was not good enough. No one told Elijah that he will be alone. All these are just Elijah's words to Elijah. You see, we've got to understand that our personal voice is important. The words we speak are powerful. Proverbs 18:21, it says, words kill, words give life. They are either poison or fruit. You choose. You see, in this runaway moment, Elijah chose poison for himself. He created his own harsh reality. And I wonder if that is us today. Perhaps we have created our own poison. Our inner voice tells us that we are not good enough, we are unworthy, we are lonely. And we find ourselves constantly struggle with that every day of our lives. And if that is you, then you've got to train your inner voice to choose to speak life instead of death. So I remember when I was 16, 17 years old, I was quite an emo person. Maybe not as emo as Elijah, okay? I am the youngest of 3 siblings, and very often my parents would pit me against my older brothers. And how well I did in school was never about the effort I put in, but in comparison to my brothers. So on good days, I do better than them, so I feel proud and good. But on most days, I often miss the mark. I get performance anxiety, I overthink a lot. I don't know why, but that has troubled me a lot. And I will always hear this inner voice that says, I am and will never be better than my brothers. I hate them, I hate myself. And unknowingly, that became my life script. I started being very harsh on myself, and that I have to perform and I must be better than others to feel good about myself. I want to be a perfectionist so that no one can criticize me. Life started to get pretty messy, and it's like I'm constantly having to fight this internal battle of self. And it doesn't matter which side wins because I always lose. And I carried this attitude with me even when I was in church. But there was once when I was very emo and down, I had a black face and bad behavior. And one day, CJ noticed it and sat me down to talk. And I walked away with this one line, and it's roughly, okay, I can't remember clearly, but it's roughly right. It's like, CJ told me, it's not personal, it's a pattern, and I need to grow a stronger mind to break the pattern. And instead of saying to myself that I am not good enough, I learned to recognize and say to myself that it's not personal, it's a pattern. I can grow a stronger mind to break the pattern. And that became a tool to get me out of my insecure, messy mind. You see, some of us here, you relate to my story. Sometimes life feels a little bit heavy, right? Reality feels harsh because we created it for ourselves. We write our own script. And that inner voice that keeps rambling and making it worse isn't really helpful at all. Sometimes that voice can go out of control. It drives you insane sometimes. Friends, if that is you today, I want to share with you a good news is that you have full control over your inner voice. You decide what you say. You have the power to rewrite your own script. So how do we do that? To rewrite your script, you have to first know your script. And this is what God said to Elijah. Right? In verse 9, the Lord's word came to him and said, "Why are you here, Elijah?" Now, I'm always find this very fascinating. So, isn't it interesting that God asked Elijah, why was he there? I'm talking about God, God. This is the God of the universe, the God who supposedly knows everything under the sun. Do you think God doesn't know what is going on in Elijah's life? Now, what I think is that God knows, but God wants Elijah to verbalize it so that Elijah can hear his own script, to acknowledge his struggles, his weaknesses, his reality, so that he can start to rewrite his script. So same thing for us, sitting here, what is your script? What have I been telling myself that affects my behavior, my feelings? And maybe today you say you feel lonely. What's the script? Is it because I don't feel belong and fit in with my friends in school? Or people gossip about me, I'm hurt, I don't trust people. Or I hurt others so that I feel better for myself, they are suffering with me. You see, if you want change to happen in your life, then you have to stop ignoring the script. Stop hiding in your heart, in your mind. You have to say it out and write it down. Noticing the pattern is the first step to rewrite your script. The second step is to consult the outer voices, the good ones, okay? Rewriting our script isn't easy, and it's hard to do it alone. Sometimes we need to engage the help of outer voices, people we trust, our family, our friends, our mentors, a professional counselor, people who are more mature and can provide you with some advice. And sometimes it's that we need some form of intervention as well to disrupt our patterns. Now again, pick people whom you trust, not just some random stranger, some random comment in an anonymous account that posts on a comment that you feel very affected. Pick people who love and care about you enough to tell you the truth. And I want to say that we have plenty of wise, caring leaders and more mature people who you can go to in TiVo. Okay, so please go to your friend, please go to your leaders, talk to them about it. Now, two voices, right? Outer voice, inner voice. But there's another voice you can go to. And the third one is God's voice. You see, after Elijah's complaint, God spoke to Elijah. In verse 15, the Lord said to him, "Go back through the desert to Damascus and anoint Hazael as king of Aram. Also anoint Jehu, Nimshi's son, as king of Israel, and anoint Elisha from this place to succeed you as prophet. Whoever escapes from the sword of Hazael, Jehu will kill. Whoever escapes from the sword of Jehu, Elisha will kill. But I have preserved those who remain in Israel, totaling 7,000, all those whose knees haven't bowed down to Baal and whose mouth hasn't kissed him." Now, it might seem like this is like a simple solution, right? God is telling Elijah to go here, do this, do that. But if you read carefully, God is calling him to do something very remarkable. You see, first, God asked Elijah to go back through the desert. And you have to remember what made Elijah run to the desert. Jezebel's death threat. God is asking Elijah to walk back the same way. That the life he was called to is on the other side of this desert, not here. And it's not easy if that was the same path that he took to escape from Jezebel. Second, God asked Elijah to go and find three people. Hazael, Jehu, and Elisha. Now remember what Elijah was emo about? That I'm all alone. I'm abandoned. You see, God is empowering Elijah to make friends who will protect him, including one who will succeed him as a prophet. And if that's not reassuring enough, God said that there are 7,000 more people in Israel who are still hopeful. You see, God reminded Elijah that his purpose is much, much bigger than himself. Now, same path, but this time around, a harder mission. But God equipped him for this journey. You see, many times we think that God's voice is some kind of magic, Right? We stand here, we worship suddenly, ah, and then a voice in our lives. Or that we wish that we come for gathering, God speak to us, and then the moment I step out, wow, my life will be so much easier, everything smooth sailing. Listen, God's voice does not make our life easier. If in any way it makes it harder, more difficult, because He knows that we are ready for it. He knows that we'll grow to become stronger in this new, more difficult journey. God's voice is our fuel. His voice empowers us, guides us, gives us the courage to walk towards our fear, gives us the energy to find friends when we feel alone and abandoned. See, I shared my personal story earlier, and I'm lucky that I found Tivo here, that I had mentors and great mature friends in my life. But the most precious of them was God. See, like some of us here today, I was 16 years old and I found myself in church. I don't know what, back then I don't know what was church. I don't know what was God. I was just there because my friend invited me. And everything in the space doesn't make sense to me except for that friend who invited me, right? We feel like I'm just going to stick with the person. But standing there during my first gathering, I felt something different. And it's as though I felt God was in the room. There was so much love, warmth, passion, and it touches my heart. And even when I could not comprehend, I decided to talk to God for the first time, even if I don't know how. I said, God, if you are real, show me. Make me feel as warm and as passionate as what I'm seeing, what the rest are feeling. And at that moment, I felt a warm, tangible presence around me, as though someone was hugging me like a gentle squeeze. And I felt loved and wanted. And it was in that moment that I knew that God was speaking to me. You see, God's voice isn't always audible voice. It was something that I felt and I understood. And ever since then, I committed to knowing more about God. And it has been a really long journey of discovery, and there were so many moments that God spoke to me. God's voice gave me strength when I was down, when I was weak, when I was sad. God's voice encouraged me when I was emoing. God's voice gave me a purpose for my life, just like how Elijah had his. God's voice revealed to me things to work on to become a better person in the world, to become kinder, more loving. God's voice taught me forgiveness. God's voice taught me to love, to respect, to be thankful, to have compassion and empathy for the people around me. You see, all of us here, God wants to know you too, and He wants to speak to you. And I hope that you'll be open to hear Him. And I want to land with this, right? Is it God's voice is personal? Now, when I read Elijah's story over and over again, I realized there's an even more beautiful story behind. Elijah's journey began as a prophet. His life was, dedicated to simply relaying God's word to other people. But during this crisis, God first spoke to him through a messenger, which is an angel. God then spoke to him through a word. But at the final moment, God spoke through His voice. A still, quiet voice. You see, when someone speaks to you with their voice and a still, small voice, right? It means that they are close in proximity. Imagine God is so far away, like, pss, 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 cannot. It means that God is close to him. You see, Elijah's story is more than just Elijah. It's about a God who is so great and powerful, but yet desires to be personal to us. You see, we thought Elijah was running away from his life, but as he ran, God was getting closer and closer to him. And I think that's some of us here today. Perhaps we are also running away in our lives. We feel alone and abandoned. No one understands what I'm going through, or we find ourselves spiraling in a very dark space of stress, of anxiety, of depression. And I want to let you know that God sees you. He understands your pain and your suffering. That as we run away, God is running closer and closer to us. He wants to be personal with us. He wants to be able to speak to us face to face, heart to heart. And maybe for some of us here, God spoke to you through your friend who's here. You see, while God spoke directly to Elijah, God also empowered Elijah to speak to 3 more people. Hazael, Jehu, Elisha. So today you might not be the main character of the story, right? You might not be Elijah, but you are Hazael, You are Jehu, you are Elisha. And God has put friends in your life and they have told you something that transformed you. A voice that inspired you, gave you hope, gave you peace, gave you wisdom, inspired you to have purpose, made you feel love. And that's your friends here. But that's also God working through them. Listen, there are voices in your life that shape you. Maybe you notice that there are voices that make you less than who you can be. But at the same time, there will be voices that can activate you to grow and become, so that you can become your better self, if not the best self. And today, I just want to leave you with this thought. Which voice will you hold on to?